Welcome to Easy English by ABC, and today we are going to start a new lesson from a snapshot, The Ghat of the Only Word by Amitav Ghosh. Now, as you said, you will ask here, or definitely Rupesh will ask today, Sir, what is this lesson all about? This lesson is all about two dimensional facts. One is that life has the bitter reality, that is death. Death is inevitable to every human being. Am I right? It is better to accept the fact that death is bound to come sooner or later. But the second aspect of this story is that we should enjoy life to the fullest of our satisfaction, even on the last day of our life. Doesn't matter, even if we live for a shorter period. Life longer, there is a proverb, what we say that we live in deeds, not in years. That is a proverb. We live in deeds, D-E-E-D-S, not in years. We should never count our life by years that we live. We should count the adventure, achievement that we achieve in our life. Even if we live a shorter period, but if we achieve a milestone, it is better than a long life. Am I right? So this story is going to tell us all about the reality, that is, death is inevitable. That is, now the protagonist of this story, the gentleman, the narrator, Amitav Ghosh, is a friend of Shahid. What is the name of this gentleman? Shahid, who is professionally a poet, a writer. Shahid is also a poet. He belongs to Jammu and Kashmir. He is a person from Kashmir. Both these, the narrator and Shahid have lived in Delhi. They have studied there in Delhi University, and they met there and became acquaintances, friends, close friends. And then, they shifted to Brooklyn in USA for higher studies. Where did they shift to, tell me? Brooklyn in United States. And they became very close friends. So the narrator, Amitav Ghosh, and Shahid were very close friends, and they became good friends in Brooklyn because twice they met. First they met in Delhi, second time they met in Brooklyn, USA. The narrator lived on the 7th floor of the house, this gentleman, Shahid, lived in the 7th floor of the flat in Brooklyn, and he had a spacious flat, very spacious, full of space, and he was fond of organizing parties. He was a very sociable kind of person. What kind of person was Shahid? Very sociable. He often organized party at his house, invited friends, poets, writers, and even his students. He was professionally a teacher. He taught in universities and colleges. Shahid taught in universities and colleges in Brooklyn, in USA, and he was also a poet. He wrote poetry. So these were the two activities that he was busy in. Ask, what was they, sir? Professionally, he was a poet. He wrote poetry, and at the same time, to earn his livelihood, he taught in various colleges and universities in Brooklyn. Am I right? Yes. And that is the reason why the narrator became a very good friend of him. And this Shahid was, as a sociable human being, he organized parties at his house, invited friends, relatives, his students and teachers to his house, and gave them beautiful treats as a food. He was fond of two things. Ask, sir, what are they? One was he was fond of food, another was he was fond of music, particularly of Kishore Kumar and Rosanara, and one more, I don't remember the name, but he was fond of old music, Bollywood music, old songs, and Kishore Kumar and Rosanara. Rosanara Begum is a ghazal, singer perhaps, and she sang for many years. So he was fond of two things. Ask, what are they? Music and food. Particularly, food was his best liking. Food was his best liking. As he believed in good food, he often invited his friends and relatives at his house and served them delicious food. Delicious? Once what happened, the narrator met him, Shahid, on 25th of April 2001 to remind him of one of the invitations they were having. They were invited to another friend's house for food. In which time? 2001. What was the date? Ask, sir, what was the date? 25th April 2001. And so the narrator reminded that we have to go to somebody's house because we have been invited by one of our friends for lunch. So he just came to remind him. Then you ask, sir, what was there? Shahid that time was little bit, sick, and he was in the, grief of the cancer. He was suffering from cancer. So he was feared or scared of the impending death. That time when 2001 in April, when the narrator made, he was scared of the impending death of cancer. Death of cancer. Because he was diagnosed as a cancer patient. But he never lost heart. He kept, having the positivity that whatever life he will have, he will enjoy. And therefore he kept, talking about good things, writing poetry, teaching in colleges, inviting his friends and students to his house and giving them parties. But unfortunately, this couldn't last long. Ask why? Because actually his health got deteriorated day by day. Select it. His health got deteriorated day by day. And then one day, the doctors stopped all medications, because the medications didn't have any positive effect on his health, so they stopped any kind of medications, particularly chemotherapy and all, because it was not affecting him, not improving him, and just said that you have 1 year time left for your life, enjoy your life. Even despite the fact that Sahid knew that he would not live long, he would die within a year. He never lost heart. He kept his enthusiasm up, invited his friends and relatives at his house, and kept inviting and giving treat to them. That way he remained busy. Sometimes in summer, he also visited his hometowns in, Srinagar or Jammu Kashmir, and he lived with his parents for some time. His parents lived in India, in Kashmir, but he never lost heart. He always kept, doing everything good, writing poetry, teaching the students in colleges, and his student admired him. He was very admirable as a teacher, as a friend, as a philosopher, as a guide, so he was loved by his students. Once what happened? Ask sir, what happened once? It was just the day, it was just 3 or 4 months time left for his life to end. He went to, India in summer vacation and lived for some time. Then that time, he was reminded of, he had seen the violence in Kashmir during the period 1980, and that had a very great impact on his writing. Whenever he wrote poem, there was a theme in his poem that was about violence in India, particularly religious violence, war, violence due to some ethnic problem, religious problem. So his writing had a greater impact. His writing had a greater impact of the violence that continued since 1980 in India, particularly in Jammu and Kashmir. That has a greater impact. Now Sahid, he was just, very, now little bit upset, because he knew that now he no more would live for, only 6 months were left. So now he invited his friend, the writer, and talked about many things. But at the same time, he revealed the fact that I am not going to live for long. The impending death will take my life away. So I want that you should write for me in your writing. You are a writer, so you should write something about me after my death. He requested the narrator to write about his life after his death. And the narrator agreed. And it was just on 27th October 2001 that it was the last meeting of the narrator with with Sahid, his friend. Sahid and narrator met for the last time on which day? Tell me. It was 27th October 2001. And first कब मिला था बोलिए? In April, 25th April 2001. So April से October के बीच में this was the last meeting. उसके पहले बहुत सारे पार्टी में गया था, but this was the last meeting. Both of them, talked a lot about everything, but he was having the fear that he would die. And then you ask, sir, when did he breathe his last? He breathed his last on, I'm telling you, on perhaps December. It was 8th December. It was 8th December 2001. So देखिए, he met him on 25th, April, in 2001. Again, he met for the last time in 27th October 2001 कितना महीना हुआ बोलिए? And on 8th December 2001 he died. He breathed his last. He breathed his last. But he wrote, the narrator wrote about Sahid after his death and longed to have such a friend, such a lovely friend. He regretted that he had missed such a great writer, such a great poet. But he accepted the fact. The narrator also accepted the fact that death is inevitable. Death is, though Sahid had enjoyed his life to the fullest, he was quite satisfied. Before dying, when he met on October, 27th October, he looked very satisfied. That means he had lived a life full of joy, and he has kept the quality of life even till the end of life. But the acceptance fact was that death was bound to happen, and he died on 8th December 2001, and that was the end of the story. That was the so we now come to conclude that we should not deny the reality of life, that is death. So we should never deny. The fact that death is inevitable. It is imminent. It is sure to happen. It is sure to happen. But it doesn't matter whatever period of life we are going to live. We should live life happily and with a greater satisfaction. Whatever may be the length of life, doesn't make any difference. So the period and the length of life doesn't make any difference. What makes a difference is that we should accept that the fact that death and diseases are bound to happen. They are part of our life. But we should never give up enjoying life. Even we should live to the fullest satisfaction, even on the last day of life. This is all about the story. Thank you very much.